afternoon, it's 12 o'clock. I am at the Yege, Bamigbada with the 12 o'clock news, broadcasting live from Splash FM from Alaye. First, the highlights. Kidnapped Eda Oniwekiti worshippers regain freedom. One victim confirmed dead. Teacher Obi warns of worsening hunger crisis in northern Nigeria. To the news beyond Nigeria, Trump says American identity under renewed attacks as US Jones 250. To the news in detail. The victims had retreated during the attack on a Christ Apostolic Church crusade in Edaoniwe Ekiti, Hileje Major Local Government Area of Ekiti State, have reportedly regained their freedom. The victims were released around midnight yesterday and are currently being taken to a hospital for medical evaluation and treatment. One of the 15 kidnapped victims died while in captivity, while the remaining survivors are said to be in critical physical and emotional condition. The victims' release was secured without any noticeable intervention from government authorities or security agencies. It will be recalled that pandemonium erupted in Nedauniyo on Tuesday, April 28, 2026, when suspected gunmen invaded an open-air crusade organized by the Christ Apostolic Church. During the attack, the officiating pastor was killed, while 15 worshippers were abducted and taken to an unknown destination. Still on Ekiti State news, tension gripped residents of Onola community in Ado-Ekiti after the corpse of a middle-aged commercial motorcyclist was discovered by the riverbank in the area. The body was found by residents who had gone to the area close to a Celestial Church, Mercyland Parish. The deceased, whose identity is yet to be confirmed, dressed in a commercial riding attire and was found laying beside the water. Some of the people of the community who spoke with our correspondent alleged that the deceased was a commercial motorcyclist who was drowned during the last downpour in Ado-Ekiti. Residents therefore appealed to concerned authorities to calm and evacuate the corpse. The Ekiti State Police Command is yet to issue an official statement on the incident as at press time. Moving to Osun State, the management of Osun State University has rejected as part of the statement issued by the Depot Nigerian Army Osogbo over allegations of sexual assault reportedly involving some military personnel and members of the university community. Our correspondent gathered that the Depot Nigerian Army said it has not received any formal complaint or credible evidence to substantiate rape allegations linked to some recently passed out personnel, even as it reaffirmed that an ongoing investigation into allegations of misconduct would be thorough and transparent. In a statement issued yesterday by the Assistant Director, Army Public Relations, Depot Nigerian Army Osogbo, Major Ibrahim Yahya, the Army stated that the allegations had been attributed to the Vice-Chancellor of the University, Professor Odunayo Clement Adeboye, and amplified on social media platform. Union also disagreed with the Depot Nigerian Army's characterization of the Vice-Chancellor's comment as unconfirmed and potentially misleading, insisting that the remarks were made responsibly, in good faith, and in line with the institution's statutory and moral obligation to protect its students. to Lagos State. The United Nations Development Programme and the Lagos State government yesterday called for stronger investment, financing, and market access to help transform Africa's creative industries into drivers of job, exports, and industrial growth. They made a call at the stage Sell, Skill, Fashion, Leather, and Creative Enterprises Spotlight in Lagos, which brought together leaders from government, finance, and business. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, speaking at the event, said that despite the abundance of talents, many entrepreneurs continue to struggle with limited access to finance, market, and business networks. Represented by the Commissioner for Wealth, Creation and Employment, Akinyemi Ajigbotafe, the governor said the state government was focused on building an ecosystem that enables businesses to grow, connect with new buyers, and access markets beyond Nigeria. Speaking at the event, UNDP President Representative in Nigeria, HCGO Atafue, said Africa's fashion, leather, and creative sectors have evolved beyond cultural expression into productive industries capable of creating jobs, strengthening manufacturing, and building global competitive brands. Moving on, presidential candidate of the Nigerian Democratic Congress, Peter Obi, has raised the alarm over what he described as an avoidable food crisis ravaging northern Nigeria following a fresh United Nations report showing that over 70 million people across 9 states in the region are facing crisis-level hunger. Obi, in a post on his X handle today, said the crisis described by the World Food Programme as the worst in nearly a decade was a consequence of what he called incompetent and irresponsible leadership, given that the North remains the country's food basket. The ex-Sanaba governor attributed the crisis to two structural failures: insecurity and inability to farmers to access their farmlands, saying banditry and insurgent attacks had turned Nigerian communities into displacement camps. Obi called on the federal government and state leaders to move beyond political rhetoric and made transparent, upfront investments in securing agricultural corridors and supporting smallholder farmers with accessible resources. He urged closer collaboration with the WFP to bridge funding gaps before the crisis claimed more lives, particularly those of children. Moving on, the national president of the Nigerian Union of Pensioners, Godwin Abumise, has commended President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for approving the payment of 39.6 billion naira, being 10.6% pension increase areas owed to pensioners under the defined benefit scheme. Abumise spoke in an interview with TVC News shortly after the Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate and Ministry of Finance announced the disbursement yesterday. The pensioners' leader listed other interventions he attributed to Tinubu, including 758 billion naira released for the arrears of pension and gratuity owed to contributory pensioners under the contributory pension scheme, and 58 billion naira for the repayment of pension arrears for those on the defined benefit scheme. The federal government had yesterday announced the payment of more than 39 billion in inherited pension liabilities owed to pensioners of the defunct Nigeria Telecommunications Limited, Mobile Telecommunications Limited, Power Holding Company of Nigeria, Assurance Bank, Nicom, and defunct People's Bank of Nigeria. To the news beyond Nigeria. US President Donald Trump lashed out yesterday at what he called a fresh threat against the country's identity, taking aim at domestic ridicules and extremists on the eve of America's 250th birthday. In a speech dripping with patriotism, Trump lauded American Expectationalism had praised its past leaders, speaking at Mount Rushmore with its giant carved heads of four of his legendary predecessors. It is a team that Trump has reportedly it is a team that Trump has repeatedly hammered home in recent weeks as the anti-establishment left of the Democratic Party carried a surge of U.S. primary voters. The president has cast the rise of the left ahead of November's midterm elections that communists are on the rampage, posing a major threat to the country. And to wrap up the news for 12 o'clock, here are the top stories once again. Kidnapped header on Ekiti worshippers regain freedom, one victim confirmed dead. Peter Obi warns of worsening hunger crisis in northern Nigeria. To the news beyond Nigeria, Trump says American identity under renewed attack as US storms 250. And that is it on this update for 12 o'clock on Splash FM. Thank you for listening. Have a great and wonderful afternoon ahead. I am Adeyege Bamibade.
Sunsplash, on the hills of Ifalayi, on the vibrant waves, Ifalayi, Awara.